I mean, you would wonder, like you have a policy that asks all schools to, it just pops up, which means that we need people who are sober in public offices, those who have gone through education, Christian education, who know the discernment of the common good for us to begin enjoying heaven here and for us to live the vision of our blessed founder, Basil Moreau. I want to end with this in my introduction. Countries that have developed and have moved a little more beyond being third world and probably moving to fourth world, discernment of the common good is a structure-guided discernment. Countries that are in fourth world and probably fifth, it's the individuals. When I talk, that's the policy. When I sleep on the right hand, I wake up on the other hand, that's... So today, Moreau wants us to have men and women who have gone through our schools, who have discerned the virtues of life, that will make structures, not just individuals. For us, we may easily err, but structures that discern, that help everybody. Countries like the United States, first world countries, one of the things that we should admire about them are their strong structures that discern. They have already discerned to some extent, to a greater extent, these virtues that we are talking about, that Moreau has given us that are in Christ. And those countries that are almost being wiped off the face of the world are those countries where everybody walking is a policy. If I speak, you can't question me. So that will lead me, my friends, to community engagement. How are we engaging the broader community in impacting Holy Cross education? The interpretation that I found when I was given this topic is that schools are beyond their gates. The life of a school is beyond its gates, its boundaries. Holy Cross education does not belong to the school alone. We have just heard the council, Fred, talking about the state. The state almost is ahead of all of us. When the state speaks, we are finished. So meaning that if we don't have the right minds in the state that have been shaped by Christian values, we are soon doomed or probably to suffer. It is not the work of the school alone. I can't count how many times we have been here in the school disciplinary committee and we are calling almost everybody on board, parents. We are calling on different students, even when the case is not theirs, purposely to make sure everybody is on board. It is a shared mission of the school, family, church, and society. We have no doubt. Education is part of the work of Ressurrection, forming a community of hope, healing, and new life, drawing from where I'm coming from. We have just shared the different examples, including the one of Brother Andre Bassett. The vision of our blessed founder, community engagement, is central to what Holy Cross education is. It is not an optional extra, but a core conviction. We are not by ourselves. Our students, our learners come from society, and we still commission them for society. One question that would stand out for us here is, how does your teaching reflect Moreau's insistence on educating both the mind and the heart? One special thing again that rhymes well with our blessed founder is in line with the African communal philosophy, the Ubuntu. It is a relational identity philosophy. I am because we are. What a connection with our founder. Shared responsibility. It takes a village to raise one child. The resonance with Moreau is that the Ubuntu philosophy affirms the Holy Cross family spirit. So we are in the right place to have this service offered. Communal formation. Education is a collective journey of the whole community. And therefore, that gives us a question to ponder about. How will you intentionally integrate the philosophy of Ubuntu into your classroom management skills this term or this year, whatever the name you give it? The church has this special document on Christian education. And there were many documents that came after. Now remember, the Vatican Council II is in the early 1960s. We're talking about Moru in the 1800s. Moru's mindset is what actually the council captured. We have so humble a blessed founder that this document affirms the school as a community of faith, and Moru knew that earlier. In fact, the mind of Moru must have contributed much to the shaping of the Vatican Council too, and that affirms where we are. Documents that came later invite community participation. An evangelizing community gets involved in daily life. Another document, Laudato Si, education for ecological citizenship and community care. When I was young, I think I was in primary 6, we had a tree, jackfruit tree, that we all loved at home eating. And when we came back from holidays, the tree was cut down. We were all annoyed. But they cut it down purposely to get charcoal. Up to today, we still talk about it, how we all went in dismay because of this tree that we felt was special. We felt it was nowhere else in that village. That's what we felt at home. So when we found it down. But imagine this. Today, we have just to educate people to take care of nature. What a humble appeal. We have to reinvite ourselves that cutting trees is not good. This is a community response. So Moru's vision anticipated the church's modern communal focus. They will talk about synodality, Moru already foresaw this early enough. Bringing hope to a wounded context. I've just shared a little bit with you with the East African context. We hear of the humble beginnings, for example, of the Third World War, which we can't hide away from. Every day, everybody's muscle seems to get bigger. Everybody seemingly has better machinery, Someone says, I stand here, and everybody freezes wherever they are. When people get to know that I specialize in nuclear energy physics, the first thing they associate me to is nuclear weapons. But I want to say this, the church still today needs to open up. We need more people to study all these things so that we know how to bring sobriety home. If the person without sobriety has all the devil tricks, then we are done. So we need still, Holy Cross Education is a ministry of hope and healing. We have just shared about St. Brother Andre. We are present in contexts of poverty, conflict, and despair. And surely these are our homes. Did you realize that? These are our homes where we come from. I want to repeat this. Our families are in the context of poverty, conflict, and despair. I can't count how many times I've gone for burials. You would expect us to be more united, but when it's not the thing. Actually, burials here today, they divide us more. When I was young, we used to eat together. They would cook in the same place. Not today. Today you find a tent from Wanyange here, then the tent from Mukono here, and then the tent from UK here. And they are all serving their people. Even when you are collecting condolences, you give it to the person who has taken you there, and it may never reach the common pool. Now, how are we going to revive these values among us? Our mission is to nurture new life where it is most needed. New life. Just imagine we are born 5 and we don't all seem to be on the same page. Just 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in one family. And probably the person who is trying their level best to live the values of Christ probably is the most fault in the home. The one who has the sobriety of Christ is probably the one who is eliminated. So we have a long way. That's why I'm talking about bringing hope to our wounded context. Moru says we need community engagement. This is a mission for all of us, not just for a few of us. Engagement means working with the community in their struggles. And of course, as a school, when something happens and so on, it's always good to see how we participate in this. How can your school Holy Cross School more effectively address a specific wound in our local communities? Our core convictions. School is not an island. It's part of a living community, and we are part of that community. Formation happens in a relationship, not in isolation. I'm sure the pedagogy that brother has given speaks loudest to this. The vision reflects Blessed Basil Moru's insistence on educating both of these, the mind and the heart. And lastly, it aligns with the church's teaching given on Christian education. And the question here, in what ways can we break the isolation of the classroom to foster more relational learning? What connects us? What makes us friends with the learner, with the teacher? What unites us? There is always fun on your WhatsApp. Someone says, this is my friend in crime. I don't know how the way they phrase it. This is my buddy in crime. But how I wish we get buddies in the virtues of Christ. This takes me to the environment for formation. Now, let us agree that today we have a lot of information in need of formation. We have a lot of flying information, but how is it contributing to forming us? I don't know how many of us are on TikTok. To be on TikTok in Uganda, we should even be given some degrees, a degree in TikTok. Like everybody, somehow, if you want the latest news, it's no longer on TV, it's on TikTok. And everybody can be a news reporter. So, environment for formation. Today, people are being formed on TikTok, Facebook, the social media handles. Those are our formation centers today. This is a big challenge that Basil Moru is. The school is not just a place of instruction, but an environment where the community comes together to form the whole person. And the question for us we are going away with is, how can you make your classroom environment more reflective of a living community, a place of formation? Now, I want to check on Moru's vocabulary on engagement here, and it has been highlighted before by all the presenters here. Family spirit, just family. I don't know when you last felt family new inside of you. Family. I don't know when we last sat in the staff room and we felt family. Or you sat before your learners and you felt family. The foundation of Holy Cross education is fostering mutual care, no doubt. The burning desire to make God known, loved, and served in everything that we do, even in the humblest of all tasks. Trusting in God's guidance within our community every day. And then, of course, knowing that tomorrow is better. Our efforts are bringing us to a better end, bringing new life to the community. Have you ever been to a small community and you felt there was no life? Or one person came in the middle of three of you and every one of you fell apart? The work of the resurrection here, how do we bring new life to the community? It must be men and women who have gotten the values of Christ that Moru talks about and are ready to share them within the school setting and beyond. And the question here is, how can you more intentionally model the family spirit in our daily interactions with the staff and the students? By the way, have you ever met a situation where we live our lives in a way that everybody seemingly is an enemy? That even when you put up your hand and give a proposal, it may not be taken well. As we discern on Moru's vocabularies here, how are we going to be intentional on family spirit? Shared responsibility for the whole person, the upbringing. Formation is not just the task of the educator, the teacher. It is a shared responsibility of the entire community. And we educate the mind, but also cultivate the heart. This is the holistic approach. And guess what? It needs collaboration. Again, I want to say this here. When we are here, it's so lovely to be at Lakeview. You realize you have a student here, then you just realize that there's no tuition. So you have to call the parent. Now, some parents are so good, you love communicating. Others, they will just communicate to you. You're like, is this one a parent? Or you just realize that your work is now beyond the confines of your students, your learners, to moving beyond the boundaries of this place and the students, to begin even teaching, to begin letting even the adults know that they need to communicate better. How can you better collaborate with non-teaching staff to support the holistic formation of your students? They're like, that work is for the teachers. So for us, non-teaching support staff, if it is discipline, that's not our thing. But we are saying holistic. Everyone on campus, it's a community of formation. Formation for service in the world. I've just given the context of Uganda, given the one of Andre Bassett. We form students not just for themselves, but for others. Our graduates here, those who are alumni here, are agents of change when we commission them. And that is already a contribution to the community. We want to thank God that their stay with us has been heavenly, that the virtues have been picked. If not, then it's different. Sometimes the comparisons they will give, if the alumni speak, sometimes do they speak well about us or not? That really has to come back to impact us. And then education is a tool for social transformation and justice. Of course, I may not spend much time there. Our mission is to create better times than ours. Our blessed founders saw this. Better times. I always, when I preach to families, I always pray about it. Are we in our families, live alone when you move out of your family? Are we living our families better than we found them? The current context today in Uganda is that my grandfather had 10 acres of land, and then today you find nothing. That's the context we are living in today. You just tell people my great-grandfathers, the whole village was theirs, but the one who's speaking even doesn't have even a wheelbarrow of soil, okay? A wheelbarrow doesn't have land. And here to have land is a big thing, but just imagine if our ancestors, if 1, 2, 3 generations had so much, how was it lost? What made it go? Our mission. When we have the values, then we create better times than ours. If they were able to preserve this and conserve it, how about us? How can you more explicitly link your subject matter to the real world needs of your local community? That may be a question worth reflection. Community life as a gospel of life, there is no doubt. Community is not just a structure, but a way of life. A way of life. You see this way. Have you ever moved in a taxi and police stops you and it's the people inside who say, you give something. What are you doing? Give something, we leave this place. That is a little normal in Uganda today, the way of life. And these days, life is interesting. One day I went to the petrol station here in Jinja without mentioning which petrol station. And they asked me, what can I put on the receipt? They have given me fuel, but they're asking, how? What should we do? I said, do what you have done. I said, when I was living in my heart, I was like, hey, you mean we have moved? They no longer even fear us as priests. They are like, what can we put further? And I not spend much time there, but I'm glad you have woken up. What specific action will you take this term or this year to build a deeper trust with a colleague or a student? It has to be intentional. If you want to create better times and live the gospel way, it has to be surely intentional. We are companions as educators. We are companions and witnesses. So education is not just the transfer of knowledge, but we have just talked about it as a relationship, meaning that we can't keep our walls to ourselves and our gate and we are in here. It has to communicate life beyond our boundaries. So our lives are the primary curriculum. This is where we have the power of witness. I love it in Uganda, the NCD. When someone says, what are you going to teach? Everybody runs, go to the library. But today, our lives are the primary curriculum. Don't first go to look for the NCDC. All the virtues here, none of them actually, I don't know how many of you have stood in class and you put on the blackboard the heading for today as vigilance. Today class, we're going to learn about vigilance. I don't know how many of us have stood there and said, we're going to talk about gentleness. We just come today, we are learning about forces. Things are clear, forces. But these are almost, they go unnoticed even in our approaches. It is hard to talk about family spirit as, maybe if CRE requires you to teach it, then it's given in that dose. What is one personal value you'll intentionally witness to your students through your actions this year? Intentionally, you're like, for sure, with my class today, let me be maybe more listening. What is it that you're going to be more intentional? Now, do you find a difference in these two words? These two, this one and that one. Think about them. Our communion as a school is the basis of our mission. You know, when you are united, I don't know, when we are not united, if the values are not the same, if you don't protect, if you don't inherently carry the same values, there's so much that happens. But there's so much to celebrate if your friendship, you're working together. Let me say it this way. Have you ever been assigned or been asked, whom do you want to work with? And someone just says so and so. There are always reasons. Maybe these people are hardworking or they are reliable, things like that. What about the times when you say, that one, no, wait, father, wait, sister, no, not now. Have you ever had that experience? When you're here at the house, we're saying they're not sure, you move to the next one. We are a community of hope sent to transform the world. And that's where our unity, the community, the belonging together is going to be more pronounced. The resurrection is a source of zeal and our joy. And of course, engagement is an outward expression of our inner communion. And the reflection question here, what can you more effectively share? How can you more effectively share the joy of the resurrection with your students this term or this year? Commitment to justice, service, dignity. Would we say these are only for us in school? No. These are the needs of our community. There is a congregation in Uganda whose charism is to restore the lost dignity of individuals. Those whose dignity has been taken away from them. And guess what? We are many in society. Drawing from that example, educating in hope means addressing our local injustices. When the students here are debating about them, when they are talking about them, when they are learning about them in class, when they are able to give examples in society. When some say, when I leave school, I want to be a leader, they mean creating a change in this line. We uphold the inherent dignity of every person as a child of God. The council was here talking about defilement and harassment and things like that. These are all fitting in well here. How do we live together? Practical expressions of love through, of course, community service. Whether it is Lent or we have collected this and that and then being able to move out. We don't know how much we impact the community out there. Social apostolates that bridge the gap between the school, of course, and society. The efforts of Laudato Si, the choir, give it a name. All the clubs here, when they move out here to reach out to the people beyond these boundaries, changes it all. How will you integrate a specific lesson on social justice or human dignity into physics, for example? How are you going to address some of those and let them know about the vision of our blessed founder, Basil Moreau?
Father, you have 5 minutes.
I do have 5 minutes. I'm going to summarize in the next 3 minutes. What community engagement looks like? Number one, it's our families, our parishes, those who have gone through our hands, our students and our neighbors. And engaging means we have to share the responsibilities for their formation. And then, of course, outwardly, we have to bridge the distances and then, of course, bring about new life. We have parents as partners in the formation. We have students outreach programs, service learning, and social apostolates when they move out clubs, movements, and give it a name. I've given an example here. Co-formation and transformation. We learn from the community and the community learns from us. I love it here when you study in school, go for internship, come back. I love it here. Holy Cross has students from Notre Dame. They come here, they go back, hands-on, a new experience, a new way of looking at people from elsewhere and what they have to teach you. Shared values, of course, and community impact. These values, I talked about them earlier. They are worth reflecting on. I gave you an example for us like Holy Cross Lakeview. I said here we are a school with a hub of engagement efforts with the members of the board, and these are given by the Education Act, the members who belong to these. All these ones help us to be more solid in engaging the community. And obviously, we can only say that our work indeed is the work of the resurrection if we take the mission of the vision of Basil Moreau seriously. I want to end with 4 questions. Before you ask questions, let me give them to you. 1, what are you doing differently in your Holy Cross school that is uplifting and in line with community engagement? Number 2, what may be some of the institutional challenges that threaten or challenge community engagement efforts within our schools? Number 3, these are about opportunities and impact. Which opportunities do we need to tap into for better practice of Moreau's vision in our schools? Which opportunities? And what impact are our alumni having in the communities that uplifts our reputation and trust? Pause later. As for you, brothers and sisters, never grow weary of doing what is good. This should be the last words Moreau would re-echo if he was here speaking to you all. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Father Kajubi, for the presentation. Before we go for questions and answers, there is some statements that I have to put across. For us to create better times than ours, then we need to understand the following. 1, you don't need to be great to do great things. 2, you don't have to be great to achieve great things. Then 3, great things can be done without being great at the start. I developed these questions or these statements as brother was presenting, meaning that all of us here in this room, in your own capacity, you can change the world. You are a change maker. With those statements put across, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for questions. In case you have any question, please put it across. It can also be a compliment, not necessarily a question. And from the looks, most of us, we are getting into a sleeping mode. Your eyes are halfway. Please, let us all stand for a while. Let us stand. Let us stand. Let us stand and do a small stretch. Okay. Mr. Omodo, come and give us an energizer as a scout man. Please, please. We need to rescue the situation. Thank you, Mr. Omodo.
Thank you so much. The Lord is good, and all the time. We are going to compose a song, and everyone is going to sing. All together. It is even good that we have 3 rows, the first, the second, and the third. Now, we are going to use 3 words. The first row, we'll use the word to. We shall just reply, to. Then, the second row, your response will be to whom to. To whom to. To whom to. To whom to. The third is to whom does it belong? To whom does it what? Belong. To whom does it what? And we shall sing at the same time. Is it okay? And I'm going to be the conductor, the choir master. Is it okay? So please, I am going to start. When I count 1, 2, 3, we start. We all start. I hope, let me echo it a bit. This group, what is our response? Two. Then here, to whom to, to whom to, to whom to whom does it belong? To whom does it belong? Then my work will be to touch. When I tell you to touch the head, you will just say, to whom does it what? Belong. Then to whom to. Then when I touch the shoulder, the same. When I command you, do what I'm telling you. Are we together? Okay, 1, begin. To whom to whom does it belong? To whom does it? Touch your head. To whom? Shake a bit. To whom does it? Your shoulder. Your breast. Whom? You please give it. Your waist. To whom does it belong? To whom does it? Let us jump a bit. To whom does it belong? To whom? To whom? To whom? Please, behind. Please give yourself. Give this. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bright.
Thank you so much, Mr. Omodo, for that energizer. Wow. We can create our own bass. Two. Thank you. We are still looking at questions in case they are there. Any question? Then if there is no any question, then let's just get someone from the audience to give a vote of thanks.
Before going to Thanksgiving, I would give him a comment. The comment is, it is very important theme. School is not only inside the gate. School is big. That includes the society, all society. So that is very important. And that way you present it, it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Father, once again. Any other? Yes, Brother Drew.
I also want to, in a special way, express my appreciation to Father Henry for digging into the in-depth of community engagement and education. When Brother Flood just concluded his presentation, I remembered something I heard from many alumni who went through his hands. And now we know that in Uganda, he's revered as one of the greatest educators. So when I tried to consult and find out why do people consider him a great educator and many others, something that stood out was he was so much profound in helping young people discover themselves through their gifts and talents, not for their own benefits or themselves, but moving out to engage the community, to serve others. And I think the motto of Holy Cross Lakeview speaks to that when it says, Holy Cross Lakeview gives education for service. So Father Henry, thank you so much for reminding us that service is not only an aspect of life that people think it should be done by a given section of people, but it is important for all educators to reflect profoundly on how the values that we possess can include engagements in service. And I also want to say one thing about the Laudato Si, which has been also very common and put most of our schools reaching out to people in need, also being able to identify community needs, but also looking into ourselves. How best can we serve each other? It looks at the human person and also looked at the environment around us. So may this spirit inspire us to be people of service, service to ourselves, service to the community, and service to God, that we be more open to be involved in activities that draw us closer to God. And by serving God, we will know ourselves better and know the people around us better and serve them simply, but also reflectively. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother Adruf. Education for service is our motto. Any other? I believe, Father, what you have presented really is great to us. Why do we say? It also brings out our vision to educate the youth to be useful citizens for the society, for the community. And we are forming a community here. Once we gather, more than 2, 3, 5, we form a community. And indeed, our education as Holy Cross educators is not limited by the school boundaries wherever we are working. Thank you so much. At this time, we request Father Vincent Palekudembe to introduce the next speaker. Please, you're welcome.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Allow me to introduce to you Brother Tugume Patrick, CSC, Amoti. Brother Patrick is a finally professed member of the Congregation of Holy Cross. He's my classmate. So, Brother Patrick, you are welcome. And he comes from Fort Portal, Uganda. He held 2 degrees, one which is in social science and philosophy from Uganda Matters University in Kozi. And the second one is a bachelor's degree in education from the University of East Africa, Kenya, and is currently doing his master's degree in education from Strathmore University, still Kenya. He served at Holy Cross Family Ministries, Uganda, and is currently serving at St. James Primary School in Dandora, Nairobi, Kenya. Brother Patrick, you are most welcome.
Sometimes we get some technological hinges. It happens. So we shall be patient a little bit. When I stand in front of you here, I feel very happy. Why am I happy? Because I see young men and young women who are really willing, we are all young, who are really willing to carry on Father Maru's vision of education. I know most of you are working, all of you are working in our institutions. It can be an institution which is either headed or led or owned by the congregation. So I just want to thank you for being educators in faith. You're part of this journey of being educators in faith. Our theme of this symposium which is Holy Cross Education in East Africa, the work of Ressurrection. This is a very good theme. The person who really came up with the theme was really straight to the point. When we talk of the work of Ressurrection, this is a very strong metaphor that was used by our founder, Blessed Basil Moru. Now, Blessed Basil Moru used this metaphor because for him, he believed that education, he likened education to restoring someone from death to life. Why? For Moru, he believed very much that when you give someone education, you're in one way or the other trying to help him come up from the darkness of ignorance. From the darkness of ignorance. So education in our context here, in line with Father Moreau's vision, it helps to equate a person with the knowledge, with the skills. And that's not all, but also help the person to become a better person in future. Someone who can use the knowledge, the skills he has gotten, not for himself alone, but to benefit others and also help solve problems. That is our founder, Blessed Basil Moreau. So what you need to know is that in whatever thing you're doing here, you're helping to carry out that vision. Though he died, but his vision is still continuing. His vision is still continuing. And that's what brings us to our topic or question of today. How do Holy Cross members feel involved in Holy Cross education? Before we even tackle that, perhaps we can first ask ourselves a question. We are talking about Holy Cross education. What is this Holy Cross education? We are working in Holy Cross schools, but it is also good to remind ourselves, what is this Holy Cross education? What does it mean? You know, it is very easy to be employed. You go to school, you work, then you're paid a salary, and that's all. But you don't know much about Holy Cross education. So it is an opportunity today also to remind ourselves, what is Holy Cross education? So, Holy Cross education, if I can briefly talk about Holy Cross education, it is a Catholic education philosophy that was made by Father Basil Moreau. And it basically rotates around forming a human person, a whole human person. So it's not all about academics, but it's about helping a person, helping someone to become an all-rounded person. To become an all-rounded person. So, at the heart of Holy Cross education is rooted in faith, hope, and spirit. When we say Holy Cross education is rooted in faith, we are trying to mean that there is always trust in learners and also in those who are teaching them. There is a belief that those learners, there is a belief that those who are teaching them have God in them. Whenever you see that person, you see God in that person. It is also rooted in hope. When we talk of hope, we are trying to mean there is something better which is coming tomorrow. Even though we are coming from families that are having, maybe that are poor, families are having issues like separation, there is hope of transformation. There is hope of transformation. When we talk of the family spirit, in the mind of Blessed Basil Moreau, he wanted to create a form of education that would be family-like. Yes, I'm very well assured that there are some families which you really can't call family because they are always fighting, they are always having issues. But an ideal family, which Father Moreau was talking about, is that family which is full of love. So, for Moreau, the Holy Cross education should have the family spirit. What he meant by that was, it should be a form of education that is characterized by love. It should be a form of education where one can be able to correct another. It should be a form of education where people work together in harmony. When we talk of education of the mind and the heart. Now, for Father Maru, this was very important. Why? Because focusing only on educating the mind would have a negative impact in future of that person. I'll give good examples. We have doctors, we have police officers who are very corrupt. A doctor to treat you, you must brave that person. You must brave the doctor so that he can treat you or even treat the person that maybe you have brought to hospital. So it means in his education, what was formed was the mind, because he was academically intelligent to the fact that he made it to become a doctor. But the heart was not formed. He doesn't have empathy. He doesn't have sympathy. So Moreau saw this as a challenge. If we are to form a person, if we are to educate a person, we must educate both the mind and the heart. And it is from there, this person is going to become a good citizen of this world. Formation for life, not exams alone. Yes, exams are very important because they are part of assessment. But for Moreau, formation should be life. This is what he meant. Moreau meant that even if you go into an education setting, even if you study, even if you do the exams, but what should be taught to you should be able to help you maneuver through the future life challenges. It should be able to help you to have relationship with others. And when I talk of relationship, a good relationship with others. So, for Moreau, any education you receive should be a formation for lifelong, should be a preparation for you in the future. Education as ministry of hope. When we talk hope, we are meaning better times in the future. Now, Holy Cross education, we draw all our inspiration from Blessed Basil Moreau, because his vision was to educate the whole person. That's the reason as to why he very much insisted that the heart will not be educated at the expense of the mind, and vice versa. Also, on Moreau's vision, there is also education as an accompaniment. When we talk of education as an accompaniment, we are trying to mean that as a teacher, as an educator, you are supposed to walk side by side with the young people you are teaching. You are not supposed to be above them, but you are supposed to walk side by side with them. What does it mean to walk side by side? Guiding them, correcting them. Teachers are witnesses of hope. When we say teachers are witnesses of hope, and I will give an example. There are some learners in class that you see. Father Kajubi talked about that. There are some learners in class that are so learners. And some people usually give up on them. But as a teacher, you should be a witness of hope. You should be having hope that that child at some point will make it. At St. James, I have a good example. There is one child who even the mother had lost hope in that child. The mother regarded that child as unintelligent and unable to do something. But the dad kept on. If a mother can tell such a thing to the child, how does that child feel? But the dad kept on supporting the child together with the educators. Last year, he performed better. He performed very well in the KJCA exam. That is being a witness of hope. The dad was a witness of hope. And also, the educators, the teachers were witnesses of hope in this context. Growing involvement in Holy Cross members. How are Holy Cross members involved in Holy Cross education? We shall start with how this involvement has grown. Over the years, Holy Cross members involving themselves in Holy Cross education has been steadily increasing. There are some moments when we used to have ministries which would have like one Holy Cross member. But over the years, this has been changing. It has been increasing. I'll give an example at St. James. Right now, as Holy Cross members, we are three. We are three brothers. So it means that also increases the impact of our identity in the school. Holy Cross members in school do a couple of things. They work in the administration, they work as stewards, they work in the procurement, they do teaching, but also as a way of increasing our community involvement, as a way of increasing our involvement in Holy Cross education. We have also come up with a strategy of having community houses in schools, and Lakeview is one of the good examples. We have a community house. And many other places where we do ministry. Also, as a way of preparing for the future, as Holy Cross in East Africa, many of our members are advancing in education. So that is a clear indication to show that the members are appreciating the work of education, the work of forming young men and women. How Holy Cross members feel involved. One is giving hope through listening. We work in schools. There are learners, there are students, there are teachers who are educators. These people come from home with different challenges, with different issues. As Holy Cross members, we feel involved when we approach such kind of a person and we listen to that person. By the way, listening to a person can be one way of giving hope. Listening to some of the issues that person is having is one way of giving hope to the person. Just by mere listening brings about healing to the person. So as Holy Cross members, we feel involved in that way. Correcting with compassion. Holy Cross members who work in schools, there are some issues that always arise, especially issues of indiscipline. A learner may steal something. A learner may fight. As a way of being involved, we correct with passion. We help the person know to understand what is that issue, what is that kind of thing he has done that is wrong. So we try to help the person with compassion. If a person is not doing well in class, we don't shame that person. But we try to find ways of how we can help that person. Helping students discover their purpose. Through education, some of these learners, some of these students, when they come to school, they don't even know their purpose. But as Holy Cross educators, this is our work, to help students discover their purpose. How do we do this? By working with them, helping them, setting some questions to them that will trigger their way of thinking and also focus on the future to get to know what do they want to be, what is the purpose in the future. Some of these students have been inspired by some of the Holy Cross members, even to become Holy Cross members. Some are still in formation. Knowing students personally. Now, to know a student personally, it means getting to know the student by name, getting to know the story of the student, and also getting to know if the student is absent, if the student is also feeling low. All those are about getting to know the student. And through that, we are able to find solution in case that child is having an issue. We can help that child. Helping students rise after failure. Yes, there are some moments when we fall, but sometimes we need a helping hand. As Holy Cross educators, we are involved in education when we help such kind of students to rise after failure, letting them know that even if you have fallen, you can still stand up. You can still make it. Creating a climate of trust and care. When students come to us and share with us some of their challenges, do we also share them with others? No. We keep them and find solutions. So in that way, we create a climate of trust and care. We have the indispensable role of lay educators. It is very true, as Holy Cross, we are involved in the Holy Cross ministry. But that's not all. We cannot do this ministry alone. That is the reason as to why we need the lay educators. They are collaborators, and they help us to do much of the work. They are majority in most of the Holy Cross schools. They are daily witnesses to the charism. This means that even though we are the bearers of the charism, they also participate in this charism. And they are the witnesses to this charism. Share fully in the mission of education. Lay educators are co-owners of the charism. How do lay staff or lay educators participate in the Holy Cross education? By teaching with compassion and integrity, by leading with justice and professionalism, by modeling values to learners. With that, you have to be an example, because you can't tell a learner that don't do this, yet you're doing that. So you have to lead by example. Embracing Holy Cross spirit in daily work. Brother Pat, when he was doing his presentation, he talked about something related to this. When you are in class, do you even pray? Do you pray with the learners? Is there any Holy Cross saint you associate the learners to? If we do that, that will be a way of embracing the Holy Cross spirit in our daily work. Together in mission. We have Holy Cross educators. Those are the members of the Holy Cross, and also the lay collaborators. These two need to work together. And in working together, that's how we can be able to make the Holy Cross education thrive. So as brothers, as priests, as lay educators, we need to work together. There should be mutual respect and collaboration. This is very important. Even as Holy Cross members, there is need to respect those we are working with. And the same applies to the lay collaborators. We need to respect each other. Without respect, you can't even promote collaboration. Because if you don't like someone and you're abusing that person, how will you collaborate? How will you work together? How will you help the learners? How will you help the students? The charism is lived, not reserved by a few. Meaning, all of us, be it a Holy Cross member, be it a lay collaborator, we have to live the charism. It is not reserved for a few. A call for personal reflection. We need to ask ourselves some questions as we try to promote Holy Cross education. Now, this is not only for the Holy Cross, members of the congregation of Holy Cross, but it's also for the lay collaborators. We can ask ourselves a question: where do I personally locate myself in the mission of Holy Cross education? Actually, that should be the question that you ask yourself every day whenever you enter any Holy Cross institution. Do I see my role in the school as a job or as a calling and ministry of hope? If we see our role in school as a job, we shall be there to earn a salary. It shall indeed be a job. But if we see it as a calling, if we see it as a ministry, it will even give us zeal, even to go extra mile to help our students. This is when you'll find a teacher even sparing time after classes, not going home to help the students. It is more of a service. But when it is a job, you'll be looking on your watch to see when is 5 p.m. reaching and I go home. Ask yourself, in my daily work, what truly motivates my decision and attitudes? Also ask yourself, do people experience me as someone who gives hope, especially when they are struggling? These are very important questions we need to ask ourselves as we continue promoting Holy Cross education in East Africa. The final invitation. Let us deepen our closeness to students and our fellow educators. Let us educate the mind and also the heart. Let us continue to work. Let us continue the work of resurrection together. We can't do this alone. Be it the members of the congregation of Holy Cross, be it the lay people. We all need to come in. We all need to work together so that we can help to continue the work of resurrection, which Blessed Basil Moru talked about. There is this inspiring quote I got for Blessed Basil Moru. He talked about, let us inspire the young with hope that will endure. So it's not hope, only hope for today. It's not only hope for tomorrow, but it's only hope that will endure forever and ever. Thank you. That was the brief presentation I had about how Holy Cross members engage themselves in the work of Holy Cross education. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, brother, for timekeeping, first of all. I've also realized that in the nearby future, as lay collaborators, we may have a vibe of a title. I'm called Bright John, LOE, not CSC, but LOE, lay educator. Vibe. I'm called Bright John, LOC, lay collaborator. In the nearby future, we shall propose. We want to feel the thing. Thank you so much. This very moment, as usual, the way we have been running our program today, we are now set for questions for our presenter, or compliments, or anything that you feel he deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, brother John. I'm called Pasco from Fort Portal Diocese. As the day started this morning, first let me thank all organizers who organized this function, because it has added value on our daily understanding and our daily teachings. Why am I saying this? Because right from the morning, the presenters have been smart. For this afternoon, it is wonderful. Start with the Father Kajuvi in his presentation. It was really wonderful, talking about community engagement in education affairs, where we have met that we send our children to school or we teach in classes without knowing that we are adding more value to our learners or to our children, that they go out for and bring hope to the world. That means the school fees we pay for our children to learn in these schools where we are, they are bringing hope to the world. Bring hope to the world is very wide. That means that our students or our children we teach, they engage themselves in very many world affairs. That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned. Secondly, in Brother Tugume, thank you very much. Also, it came again that education is a ministry of hope. So meaning that when we are teaching, when we are learning, we are now creating more hopes in this world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Thank you so much, brother, for your presentation. Indeed, it was good. Your voice was good. It was humble, clear, and I hope that is how you normally survive. Yeah, brothers expounded on Moru's vision. Education is used to help others. Indeed, in the community, to realize their talents, hence develop their potentials, expound their territories, and awaken the community for continuous prosperity. That was good. Again, you continue talking about education as a ministry of hope. Because I know you are from those areas, they are down in a way. So whatever you have mentioned here touches those people so much. That education is a ministry of hope. More and more are guided on the importance of staying together, praying together, sharing all that they have together. Hence, they are following the example of who? Jesus. Who, when in this world, remember he taught the importance of sharing, working together, staying together in unity, and having hope in it, getting well in all that they are undergoing. Indeed, it was very wonderful, brother, and thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you so much. I think, brother, you can take a leave. Can I have people from Kenya wave at us? We are all calling. Others may be out of this class. From Kenya? Wow, clap for them. From Tanzania? TZ? Wow. From Rome? Wow, they are here. From Uganda? Wow. What are we doing? We are trying to define hope beyond borders. We are one people. LOC, lay collaborator, LOE. Thank you so much. This very moment, allow me invite Brother Omukuya to introduce the next speaker or presenter. Thank you.
Thank you. I have the pleasure to introduce Father Prosper Tukwanse. Reverend Father Prosper Tukwanse, CAC, is a priest of the East African province of the Congregation of Holy Cross and currently serves as the principal of Holy Cross Lakeview Senior Secondary School. He's actually our host, and he comes, of course, from Uganda. In addition to his leadership role, Father Prosper is an educator who teaches Christian religious education and history, disciplines through which he intentionally integrates faith, critical inquiry, and social responsibility. Father Prosper holds several academic degrees in the social sciences, philosophy, theology, and education, providing him with a broad intellectual foundation that informs both his pedagogy and pastoral vision. His work reflects a deep commitment to holistic education, one that forms not only the mind, but also the conscience, character, and capacity for service. As a Holy Cross educator, he is particularly attentive to the realities of young people in Africa, which students in Africa face, including questions of identity, justice, leadership, and sustainable development. His presentation will be anchored on Catholic identity in our Holy Cross schools, examining how faith is lived, taught, and witnessed within the school community. He will reflect on the integration of gospel values into academic life, leadership structures, student formation, and community engagement, highlighting Catholic identity as a dynamic force that shapes culture and inspires service and grounds educational excellence in the mission of the Church and the charism of Holy Cross. I therefore have the pleasure to invite Father Prosper Tukwanse.
Thank you so much, Brother Bernard. The Lord is good. And all the time. When someone was describing the presentation of Brother Tugume, he said he was so soft, he was so sweet. I don't promise I'm going to copy him. No matter when I go to class or I meet people after lunch, I have a habit of turning this into a classroom so that I can keep people awake and alert. That's why my voice cannot be sweet, because it will lead you to slumber. When you look at our program, we're supposed to have had another facilitator, but because of the different time zone, he has not been able to come to present. But we want to look at the Catholic identity in our schools. And I began with 3 questions. What is a Catholic school? When you talk about this is a Catholic school, what are we meaning? We also look at what makes a Catholic school. A Catholic school, is it name? Is it a foundation? Is it because it's built on the church land? Is that enough when you say it's a Catholic school and it's only on the church land? Is it because it's headed by a priest? Does it make it a Catholic school? These days we have schools that have been begun by individuals who are Catholics, and they also have the name. You find this is St. Mary's, this is St. Joseph, but is that enough to call it a Catholic school? And what is the identity? What is the Catholic identity in our schools? Now, we'll leave alone the other schools, but now when you come to Holy Cross schools, what is our Catholic identity in our schools? Next one. A Catholic school is a Catholic education institution founded and run by the Catholic Church or a Catholic organization. That means all the schools have been begun by individuals who are Catholics, and they don't qualify to be here because it must be founded and run by the Catholic Church or Catholic organization. So we have many schools that have been founded by the Catholic Church, and we have many schools that are run by the Catholic Church, and those that are being run by Catholic organizations. Those schools qualify to be called Catholic schools. We are all Holy Cross educators, and we belong to the Catholic Church. Our teaching as Holy Cross educators must be in line with the teaching of the Catholic Church. I cannot wake up tomorrow, I begin teaching something contrary to the Catholic Church, because this is a Catholic school. If the Catholic Church teaches that there are 7 sacraments, you as a Holy Cross educator, you may not be a Catholic, but you cannot wake up tomorrow and say, there are only 2 sacraments. We know that our brothers of other faiths, they only have 2 sacraments. But the teaching of the Catholic Church says there are how many sacraments? 7. So if you are an educator in the Catholic school, we do love you, we are educating with you. But you cannot teach against the teaching of the Catholic Church. What does the teaching of the Catholic Church say? Says there are 7 sacraments. When you go to your church, you can preach what you believe in. But as the Catholic Church, we believe in this truth, and that's what all of us must uphold. That's why in these Catholic schools, we don't teach our own opinions. No. Because there is what has been established as the truth. Therefore, we say we are all Holy Cross educators, and we belong to the Catholic Church, and our teaching as Holy Cross educators must be in line with the teachings of the Catholic Church. That one, there is no compromise. It's not that you like it or not. It must be in line with that. What are the characteristics of a Catholic school? The first one, it is a faith-based school. A Catholic school is faith-based. It pays attention to matters of faith. It nurtures young people to grow in faith, hope, and love. I know all this is happening in our schools because that's who we are. That a Catholic school is faith-based. It pays attention to matters of faith. It nurtures young people to grow in faith, hope, and love. Presenters who have come before me have already talked. Do you begin with a prayer? Here in this school, If we invite you to pray, it doesn't matter whether you're Catholic or not, but you must, because for us as Catholics, we believe that we do everything in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. So when we pick on you, pray, you must pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, because that is a triune prayer, and every Christian prayer to be a Christian prayer, it must invoke the life of the Trinity. Therefore, all our Catholic schools must look at all this. Is it nurturing people in faith? And people who have presented have talked about Blessed Basil Moreau. The mind shall not be cultivated at the expense of the heart. And that's why he talks about faith. We are educators in the faith. So that must be on our fingertips. It is values oriented. A Catholic school is oriented towards imparting values and virtues to young people. Our blessed founder, Blessed Basil Moreau, had this to say: those who teach young people in virtues will shine like the stars of heaven. I would want to be like among those stars who will be shining. And I know all of us would want to be among those who are shining like the stars. And all of that happens when we teach people in virtue, we teach people in values. We have schools, my experience is based in Uganda. We have schools where from day one, they only teach about passing and up to the end. Whether you pray, it doesn't matter. Whether you have faith, it doesn't matter. But for us, we are saying, as a Catholic school, our education must be faith-based, must also be values and virtues-oriented. What type of people are we producing? That we must produce people who have the values that we need. And for example, values of honesty, prayer, and integrity. When I address students, I always tell them, I say, you must allow us to bend you at this time. I say, if you don't bend you at this time, the time of bending later, it will be hard and it will be painful. You might break. Therefore, that the young people come to us, we must bend them towards the virtues. Virtues, I've given three. Honesty, prayer, integrity, you can add truth, and you can add many. And this is what all our schools are supposed to be, from primary to tertiary education. We want, even as the pupils are coming from primary, they should come with these virtues. There are some primary schools, when you meet them, and the children, they have all these values. They can pray. They can do all this. A Catholic school is community-driven. Father Henry talked about community, and he did so well. So a Catholic school is community-driven. A Catholic school focuses on the participation of the community in the life of the school. Students and parents. For example, how does your school participate in the parish near your school or in the diocese where your school is located? If we are, Holy Cross Lake Vieja, we are, Father Mukasa is the one who takes us as a parish priest. If the year ends, we have never participated in the life of the parish. Now, that all of us participate in the community-driven, and that is an important point. It must be prayer, and we look at also prayer and sacraments are very instrumental in a Catholic school. Members of staff and students are accompanied in their prayer life and also in the life of sacraments. For example, baptism, Holy Communion, penance, reconciliation, confirmation, and marriage for staff. That in our schools, sometimes we are challenged. When we are during Mass, we are giving out Holy Communion. All the students come. You wonder, what has happened? Is this Mass for students? Sometimes we say, I thought this was a school Mass. So it's a point of reflection. If it is a Catholic school, and we have you as staff members, and you find 3/4 of you do not receive the sacraments, what are you portraying? What are you portraying? So you may not guide people with what you don't have. If you are not participating in the life of the sacraments, it's a point of reflection that you look at what can be done so that you participate in the life of the sacrament. Sometimes we have had students being baptized, and we struggle to get godparents. You find a student is becoming a good godparent to a fellow student, and when the staff member that are seated, and when you ask them, they cannot respond. Why they cannot? Sometimes we wonder, should we go to the community outside there and get godparents? Every year, like here, we have confirmation, and sometimes we need a couple that receive sacraments to be their witness as they receive confirmation. And sometimes we wonder, whom do we look? It should be obvious that you look at all of them because everybody should qualify. Because a number are not participating in the life of sacraments. And that is, it's a characteristic of a Catholic school. Recollections and retreats. It is very important that our Catholic schools create time for recollections and retreats. When it's a recollection, it can take 1 or 2 days. A retreat takes more than 2 days. Some people call it a wastage of time, a wastage of resources, but it's not a wastage of time, and it's not a wastage of resources. My own experience, sometimes the things we encourage students to do, and sometimes the students don't do, but after the retreat, they do it themselves without even asking them, can you do this? That the retreat is able to convert them in the things that we have been singing and have failed. How many of our institutions, doesn't matter whether it's primary, you can still have a recollection. It doesn't matter whether it is nursery, they will know it's our day of prayer. We always see, especially nursery school, they take children day out. They take them to the bouncing castles. They take them for swimming. What about when you take them to the parish? He said today, Father Mukasa is going to have mass with you, going to have a recollection. And it may create an impact. But it's okay to take them for bouncing castles. It is okay to take them for swimming. But also, remember to take them to church. Another point to look at is the visibility of the Catholicism in our Catholic school. When you enter a home or you enter a school, what welcomes you? Our Muslim brothers do better than us. That wherever there is a Muslim school, what welcomes you will be a mosque, and it's taller than any other building. When someone enters our school, what will let him know that this is a Catholic school? During the time of COVID, the government encouraged the parents to take children to schools nearby. So there is one parent who came to look for a vacancy for her daughter in senior 1. But asked the senior 1, the one of senior 5, also to accompany. When this parent came and at our main entrance at the reception, he found there was a crucifix up there. He even told, even you, I've changed my mind, you are coming here. It was only the crucifix that told the parent said, even you have changed my mind, you are coming here. The community outside there, they are looking for a Catholic school. And sometimes we struggle to make our schools community school. When they are looking for a Catholic school, community schools are there. And if they need them, they will know where to find them. Therefore, we have to struggle to make sure our Catholic schools maintain their identity as Catholic schools, and without compromising. Here, sometimes I ask, I'll give examples of the Muslim schools. Can you go and build a chapel in Chiburi, which is a Muslim school, or can you be Muslim? Of course, no. So why are we struggling to please people? When we know people want a Catholic school. And people want the Catholic school because of the values they know. They know the values that come with them. So when you look at the visibility of the Catholicism in our Catholic schools, when you enter our schools, what welcomes you? We have talking signs which are good. Do we have statues? St. Joseph, Mary. Do we have crucifix in our schools? Here we can even say, we can go to about Holy Cross. Do we have anchors? We have, when we were making the floor at the main entrance, we put the anchor. We had one of Holy Cross who said, I don't want to step on this because this anchor is too holy that for me I don't want to step on it. And for us, we put that, whoever, because you cannot remove. So whoever comes there, he will look at this, he knows, and people ask those who don't know, what is this? Then you explain, this is the anchor. And then he said, what is an anchor? Then we take them through. By the end, they are able to know what is the anchor. This, last year, we looked at the name, like the name. You know, each school, they have the name they are used of. So we ended up baptizing all our school teams and everything, Holy Cross anchors. That even when the senior ones are coming, we say, the new anchors are coming. When it's on they're on football, they're on volleyball, the Holy Cross anchors are playing. I realized we were on the sports when for volleyball, when people make a point, there is a noise they make, and others would make meaningless noise. But these hours would say, Holy Cross, and they say, anchors. And people were saying, what is that? Because the others would only say, woo. People say, woo. Now, when you see people made a point, they're only saying, woo, you wonder whether this is an owl, which sound of a bird is this? But our students, whenever they would make a point, others shout, they say, Holy Cross, others respond, anchors. What is the name have you given to your students in your school? Think about it. What do we offer and how do we offer? How we offer it matters. Catholic schools have been known for instilling discipline, mentoring young people to be upright. It is a point of reflection. What is happening in our education institution? What are we known for as Catholics? Sometimes when we say the Catholics are truthful, do we still maintain it? This virtue of being truthful should be in all our education institution. What are we known for? People, they know if you want discipline, go for a Catholic school. Therefore, when we are enforcing discipline, we must look at this. Because the people are looking for a Catholic school, they enforce discipline. We all want good people. And therefore, it must guide us to make sure that what we are known for, we definitely do it better. Now, I wanted to look at something I inserted in my presentation, and I have these 3 books. I will begin with this book. And hopefully all of you can look at this. This is AMESEA. AMESEA, it is Association of Member Episcopal Conferences in East Africa. And it is Child Safeguarding. This is AMESEA. This is Uganda Episcopal Conference. And its title is Child Safeguarding Policy. And lastly, you will look at this. Child Protection Policy in the Congregation of Holy Cross, Province of East Africa. So what is child safeguarding? Child safeguarding is a set of actions and policies put in place to protect children from abuse and harm. A child is defined as any person under the age of 18, according to both the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children and the Constitution of Uganda. You know, even the Constitution of Kenya and the Constitution of Tanzania, because they define a child like that. Child abuse includes physical. Includes what? You have to speak. You are the teacher, you are the class. Class, it includes what? So, when we are pinching the children, when we are beating them, look at this. That is child abuse. It includes physical, emotional, or sexual harm, neglect. Even neglect alone it's also child abuse. And exploitation, which can happen either through harmful actions or by not taking steps to protect the child. You may not be the abuser, but you have not taken steps to protect this child. That means you have participated in the process of child abuse. Safeguarding ensure that children are kept safe from these risks by recognizing that they can be exposed to harm by people, organizations, or systems. That is how child safeguarding policy has been defined. And this is very important. in these days that child safeguarding must be paid attention to. Next slide. For schools and other Catholic institutions, child safeguarding means that all children, no matter their race, religion, or background, are protected. All children, no matter of their race, background, religion, they are protected. Protected by who? By me and you, because we are the educators. When the parents bring the children, they entrust them to us. So we are in our hands. So therefore, all children must be protected. These institutions, such as schools, hospitals, must appoint a child safeguarding officer. And this is what these books are saying. I'm not going to ask how many of our institutions have that. But when you go from here, that's where you begin from. That each of our schools must have a child safeguarding officer. This what I'm saying is not an option. It's a you must do. And I'm not begging you. This is a must do. If you want to educate, with Holy Cross. Because this policy, I'm going to read some of the points in this policy. That in all our institutions, we must have a child safeguarding officer. Create a safeguarding committee. And this is what has been requested from the Amesaya Episcopal Conference and from the congregation, that in all our schools we must create a child safeguarding committee. Provide the staff with the right training. In all our schools, we are meant to provide the staff with the right training. Additionally, institution must inform parents and community about safeguarding. Here, whenever we have annual parents general meeting, this is part of what we tell parents, because this document requires that we also inform parents. You may do all the best in school, but if you have not informed the parents, something is lacking. That we must also inform parents about child safeguarding. Make sure that staff follow the code of conduct. Make sure that staff follow the code of conduct. And regularly assess how well are they protecting children. All these efforts are meant to ensure that children can learn and grow in a safe environment, free from harm. I have been so much involved in the publicity of this school to get more students, but every parent or guardian wants to give a child where this parent is assured this environment is safe. Where the parent feels that this environment is not safe, the parent will not give you a child. And therefore, all our environments must be safe for children to study. The question, there's a question I put, and this one I've gotten it here. What is the overall goal of this child safeguarding policy? It's from this book, which is the policy for the province of East Africa. And the overall goal is to create a safe environment where all children are respected, empowered, actively participate in their own growth and development. That is our overall goal. And this is what this policy is saying. And this policy binds for all of us who are Holy Cross educators. Code of conduct. By the way, this policy covers Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, because that's what makes the province of East Africa. It's not only for Uganda. This policy covers all of us. So when you look at the code of conduct, it says all CSC members and associate staff. All CSC members and associate staff. We are the CSC and the associate staff. Look, must. I told you this is not a bargaining point. The word it is must. It's not saying you have an option to do. No, must. What must you do? Must sign up. Must sign up and abide by the code of conduct. I have talked with Father Peter, our provincial. When you look at the back of this book, you realize here there is confirmation. And I was talking to him that by end of tomorrow we need copies for each one of us. So in all our schools, we are supposed to go through this, and at the end we all sign. And what I did here, it says, commitment form, I, Prosper Kwase, confirm that I have read the CSC Child Protection Policy. It has been explained to me, and I have had the opportunity to ask questions and seek clarification on my point, on any point not clear to me. I am now fully aware of my obligations as a member or as a staff or as a volunteer of the CSC to act according to the requirements of this policy. These include appropriate professional behavior and responsibility to report instances of abuse or suspected abuse of children that come to my attention. I understand the consequences entailed if I fail to act in accordance with the policy. My name is here, I sign. So by end of tomorrow, we are also going to print, as a committee of education in the province of East Africa, we're also going to print to make sure each one of us in all our Catholic institutions, these books are there, and every member who is willing to work with us in the work of education must sign this book, because protection of children, protection of minors is not an optional. We all must abide by it. So when you look at the code of conduct, say all staff, independent contractors, consultants, and volunteers working with CSC must never point number 1, hit or otherwise physical assault or physical abuse children. That is point number 1. Must actually all staff, independent contractor, consultants, and volunteers working with CSC must never, point number 1, hit or otherwise physical assault or abuse or physical abuse children. Some of us, this policy, if we put in practice, may arrest us even for last year. May arrest us for last year. So, pay close attention. Point number 2, must never develop physical or sexual relationship with children. At least all of you know Uncle Bob, that is Robert Mugabe. Yeah, he was a very wise man. There are many comments he said. And there's one of them I like, and he was saying that if you're a man and you're always attracted to children, students, buy a uniform for your wife and give her the uniform so that your wife can attract you. You will be attracted in the right place. But if you are a man, you are always attracted by a student, you say, buy a uniform for your wife. So let your wife put on the uniform at home, then the problems will be solved. So, we are saying must never develop physical or sexual relationship with children. And when Council Semanga was here, he told us anyone who is below the age of 18 is a child. But anyone who is a student, even if he's 20, he still remains a child. Well, we have had students here who are older than some members of staff. You find you have a staff member who is around 23, has finished campus, but you have a student who is 25. That student who is 25 still remains a child because he's still a student. Next point, must never develop a relationship with children which could in any way be deemed exploitative or abusive. That in that relationship you are developing is to exploit or abuse this child. Another one is act in a way that may be abusive or may place a child at the risk of abuse. So if you put children at the risk of abuse, or you are in a place you are, and this book is educating us. That's saying use language or make suggestion or other advice which is inappropriate, offensive or abusive. I would borrow the example of the counsel who was in the morning of the girl who was learning music. And he said, if you want your voice to be well, you better sleep with the teacher. And he said, actually that one, he said that was even a rape. Because if the language suggests that, here I was saying, use language or make suggestion or offer advice which is inappropriate or offensive or abusive. behave physically in a manner which is inappropriate or sexually provocative. There is a teacher who was sharing with me in one of these first schools in Uganda that there was a female teacher who was always putting on short and very tight things. And even the children complained, everybody complained, everybody paid the deaf ear. And they said one time this teacher was teaching in a night prep and the power disappeared. By the time they put on the generator, students had touched her everywhere. The blouse was torn, the skirt was torn, and everything. They said all the boys in the class were suspended. But don't you think this teacher behaved in a way that was provocative? Me, if I'm a head teacher, I will not suspend the students. I will actually suspend you because you have provoked these students. You have provoked this boy child. So, dear teachers and dear colleagues, pay close attention. They say, have a child or children with whom they are working to stay overnight at their home and supervised. We all know that staff quarters are out of bounds for students. Sleep in the same room or bed as a child with whom they are working. Do things for children of a personal nature that they can do for themselves. The things I am able to do for myself, you are able to do for yourself, do them, I will do them. But you know, we are not meant to use these children to do them for us. Condone or participate in behavior of children which is illegal, unsafe, or abusive. Act in ways intended to shame, humiliate, belittle, or degrade children. We are all teachers, and we go to class. When this child gives the wrong answer, what comment do we give? Some students are very notorious. They would even provoke us. How do we respond to them? Because here we're saying part of the sexual abuse is to condone or participate in behavior is in any way in ways intended to shame, humiliate, belittle, or degrade children. So if my behavior, if I find that I want to belittle this child, I want to humiliate and shame, then what am I doing? That is child abuse. Another one is discriminate against, show differential treatment, and favor particular children to the exclusion of others. Sometimes we are tempted to have these children we love. That even when you reach in class, all the answers, Prosper, you answer. And this one, you answer. Where are the other children? And sometimes the children even come and answer. They say, this teacher, he only asks 2 or 3 students. I know of a teacher somewhere. If this student was not in the class, he would not teach. He reaches and says, Prosper is not here. Let us do revision. Because this student was his favorite. The day this student has not started, they would do revision. When this student is there, he will teach. Isn't that discrimination? That's child abuse. Staff should avoid actions or behavior which may constitute poor practice or potentially abusive behavior to children. That is a code of conduct. So, and this is what is required of us. So, as I conclude, we are working on this, that each our Catholic institution in the province of East Africa will get these books. And if you want to educate with us, you must sign this book and follow. Because tomorrow when you get in trouble, for us we shall say, we educated you about this, but you've gone against. So the ministry will be able to handle you. I want to thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Father Prosper, for your presentation. Members, this is a reminder to all of us. As Holy Cross educators, we are not operating in isolation. We are not. We are accountable to any policy violation. Therefore, let's pay attention to all policies in our field for us to be safe. You may only focus on the element of sex abuse, and you forget that caning is not allowed. And you may think that you are safe. We are not safe. Let's invest some little time. Read these policies, understand them, for us to be better Holy Cross educators. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. At this particular time, let's have Father Prosper introducing to us the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Marco, good morning. We want to thank you, Dr. Marco. Is a seasoned Holy Cross educator with a wide range of experience. And I want to thank him particularly because his program was so tight and we thought we would not even get him, but he has sacrificed this time to be with us. Dr. Marco, want to welcome you and also to invite you. He's going to share with us on the topic a call to be a Holy Cross educator, an experience of Holy Cross education. Dr. Marco Clark. So Dr. Marco Clark will give us a few words about your biography and then present. Dr. Marco, you're most welcome. Here we have educators from Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and in attendance we also have our Speaker General attending this symposium. So Dr. Marco, you are most welcome.
Well, thank you, Father Prosper, and thank you all for this invitation. It's really a joy to be with you, albeit virtually. And gosh, congratulations to the East African province. I know, Father Prosper, a few years ago when we were in Rome together, this symposium was a dream of yours, and it's just great to see this dream come to fruition. Also, greetings to our Superior General, who I believe is there in the audience. Brother Paul, always good to see you. For those that are not aware, I attended a Holy Cross Brothers High School. And as a youngster, in my American Literature class was taught by none other than Brother Paul Bednarczyk, our Superior General today. And so what a joy it is to be with him and with all of you. And really, it's with deep gratitude that I come to you today. So I know it's been a long day for you, and you've heard from a lot of speakers, and I'm going to offer just a couple of words. No PowerPoint prepared, but just some thoughts. I have had the good pleasure to work with and alongside Holy Cross brothers and priests for more than 30 years. I've also had the privilege of attending, as I mentioned, a Holy Cross Brothers High School just outside of Washington, D.C. And I can tell you, as a precocious, insecure, but eager and optimistic 14-year-old, the Brothers of Holy Cross and the work that they did and the ministry that they served at Bishop McNamara High School was transformational for me. Through their personal witness, you know, in the 1980s, we didn't necessarily have the language that we speak today, the vocabulary that we use to describe this Holy Cross mission and charism. But what I saw from this group of men and then the lay people, the lay men and women that worked alongside them, were deep sources of love and kindness and support and encouragement, and truly men and women with hope to bring. And as we all, as young people, encounter bumps in the road and go through life's difficulties, to be a part of a family of mutual support and love and kindness and encouragement, You never know the seeds that you're planting, that little dose of encouragement that you give, and how it could and will change the world. As a result, I came back to that same Holy Cross High School and served for just about 24 years as the principal and then president there. And what a great joy that was to go back into a community and hopefully give back to it the same way that it gave to me. Shortly after that, after I left that position, I moved to Austin, Texas, my wife and I, and we accepted a position at St. Edward's University to be the executive director of the Holy Cross Institute. I had very much to look forward to making a visit to East Africa in that role, but of course that came during the time of COVID, which prevented all of that travel. And then in 2022, I was asked and invited to serve as the president at Holy Cross College in Notre Dame, Indiana. So that's where I come to you from this morning, in your case, this afternoon, this evening. And again, it's just a great joy. So in a few minutes, I'll actually be preparing to present to our faculty and staff here at Holy Cross College. And I want to share with you just some of the reflections and remarks that I'll be sharing with them. The last several weeks and few months have been exceptionally, have provided me with an exceptional opportunity to grow more deeply in my understanding of what it means to be a Holy Cross educator. Now, I often will say that there is a difference between a teacher in a school, a teacher in a Catholic school, and a teacher in a Holy Cross school versus a Holy Cross teacher, right? You can be a teacher in a Holy Cross school, but not be Holy Cross. And as the late Brother Stephen Walsh used to say, that while the process of learning Holy Cross is an education of the mind, as educators, the process of becoming Holy Cross happens over time. And fortunately, it happens through the witness of the men and women who have gone before us. And yes, the education of the mind, us learning our history, our mission, our heritage, our tradition, our charism, all vitally important. But there's no better example, no better teacher than the personal witness of each of the educators in the building. So it behooves each of us as we grow into becoming Holy Cross educators, not only to learn, but also to continue to grow. On November the 1st, I had the opportunity to be in St. Peter's Square when St. John Henry Newman was declared a doctor of the church by Pope Leo. And what an extraordinary honor that was. And it led me down a path to learn a little bit more about the teachings of John Henry Newman. You know, interestingly, while John Henry Newman was in England, in the UK, and our own Basil Moreau was in France, their teachings were quite similar, and it came at just about the same time period. John Henry Newman said that college and Catholic education is for the formation of character, intellectual and moral, for the cultivation of the mind, for the improvement of the individual, for the study of literature, for the classics, and those rudimental sciences which strengthen and sharpen the intellect. St. John Henry Cardinal Newman was a firm believer in the liberal arts. He believed that knowledge is integrated and whole. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? The mind must not be cultivated at the expense of the heart. He assumed a unified view of knowledge, which cultivated philosophical habits of the mind. Moreau speaks that society has a greater need for those people of virtue than they do for scholars. And so as we speak about the philosophical habits of the mind and the heart, these seek to understand the relationship between diverse parts of a body of knowledge as well as that between the parts of the whole. He also believed that true education requires personal encounter and a sense of community. Of the dozens of schools, colleges, and universities that I've been to in this country and around the world that are run by the Congregation of Holy Cross, it doesn't take but just a few minutes to feel that sense of family, that unity, and to hear it expressed by our students and faculty is what drew them and what it is that they love the most about that. So a true education from St. John Dr. Cardinal Henry Newman believes as well that true education requires personal encounter and community. And ultimately, that education is oriented towards the cultivation of the intellect to grow in wisdom and character and virtues. Now, there are more modern writers and professors and philosophers on Catholic education. One that I had the chance to see speak while I was in Rome, James Arthur, who's a professor of education out of the UK, the University of Birmingham. And he as well spoke about the integrative model of Catholic education. He was a Thomist and Aristotelianism, and through that background as well, the underlying principle for him is that the aim is to help students become more fully actualized good human beings. Again, the parallel very directly with Basil Moreau, who said that we must prepare citizens for this world and for heaven. These young people need to lead meaningful lives with clear senses of purpose, oriented to life together in community for the common good. And there's more that's written by German-Dutch Catholic Augustinian Thomas à Kempis. We know that the Lord said that I am the way and the truth and the life. Well, Thomas à Kempis takes that a step further and says that without the way, you cannot go. Without the truth, you cannot know. And without the life, you cannot live. And writing about the education of the mind, he said, because many take more pains to be learned than to live good lives, they often go astray and bear no fruit at all. Again, it harkens back to this education of mind and heart that we know so well in the Congregation of Holy Cross. And so with Moreau, there was this set of dichotomies, or these tensions, these juxtapositions. The mind must not be cultivated at the expense of the heart. Society has a greater need for people of virtue than for scholars. We must teach our students all that they should know in the arts and sciences and theology and philosophy, physical education, etc. He also placed an emphasis and expressed the tension between education and instruction, right? The information and the formation, ultimately for the transformation of the world. Creating citizens for this world and for heaven, and forming disciples with hope to bring. I love the way he concludes Christian education by saying that education is the art of helping young people to completeness. This is ultimately their path to holiness. We are instruments of our students and one another's path to holiness. At Holy Cross College, we talk so much that education is more than preparation for a career. It's preparation for a life of human flourishing, an education that ultimately prepares one for whatever career or vocation they choose. A simple search, Google search today on the trials and tribulations of education, if we were to search the phrase rapidly changing world versus timeless truths, we would find exponentially more references made to the rapidly changing world than we would to the timeless truths. But in Holy Cross, this is what we do, is teach and form according to those timeless truths. As has been written, the education of the mind will change with the times, but the education of the heart is and will remain timeless. So we encourage our faculty to return to those timeless truths. We express them uniquely here at Holy Cross College with virtues that we've identified that come right from the Congregation of Holy Cross, those virtues of zeal and hope and unity and humility, walking together and forward as educators in the faith. So we encourage our faculty and staff to be witnesses to what it means to be Holy Cross. I remember studying early on the young men, the Brothers of St. Joseph, who were sent into those ravaged towns and villages following the French Revolution, most of them uneducated themselves. And I often wondered to myself, well, gosh, what must it have been like for them? The fear that they may have felt, the insecurity that they may have possessed. Imagine yourself back in the day when you were a new teacher, brand new. At least you had some training, maybe even just a little bit. These men did not. And I just envisioned Father Desjariers and Brother Andre Matai huddling up with these young men and saying, okay, when you get into those towns, there's a few simple marching orders for you. Be helpful. Do all the good you can do while you are there. Be helpful. Express to them the joy of these encounters with Christ. So be hospitable, remain humble, and be hopeful. Teach them all that they should know. And so I hold on to these words of helpfulness and humility and hopefulness and hospitality. And I think that that's the differentiator for us in Holy Cross. It's a Holy Cross way. It's the way we walk and speak and interact with our students and with one another. And they should know that it's different. Through our words and our actions, we're making God known, loved, and served by knowing, loving, and serving our students and one another. And often we overlook that service and love to one another. I sometimes will refer to this as the principle of sacramentality. In the sacraments make the invisible God visible. Well, through you and your words and your actions, you are making the invisible God visible. We focus on something so much bigger than ourselves. It's for the common good. It's for building God's kingdom. And our conception of education, which is rooted in our 200-year history dating back to the Brothers of St. Joseph, is concerned with character and virtues that relate to human flourishing, to the kind of human beings that have character virtues that relate to human flourishing, to the kind of people human beings have the potential to be and that they ought to be. We are indeed preparing the world for better times. And so as I come to you this evening and you close your day one of this symposium, I just want to say thank you. And I want to encourage you to continue along the Holy Cross way. There is a difference between being a teacher in a Holy Cross school versus being a Holy Cross teacher, a Holy Cross educator. And so I pray for you as you continue that journey. It's a journey I've been on now for over 30 years, and I feel privileged and honored to steward. It's not my own. For all of us, it is not our own. We have an obligation, a responsibility, a moral responsibility to continue to carry this charism forth, to prepare the world for better times, to build God's kingdom here on earth, to form distinctive scholars, courageous citizens for this world and for heaven, for virtuous leaders, and ultimately for hopeful and passionate disciples who go out and make a difference in the world. So may God bless you all, and know that I am praying for you and the good work that you do. Thank you.
Dr. Marco, thank you so much for your presentation. I have a question for you. And I am told that you teach a class and your class is teaching the Holy Cross way. What is that Holy Cross way? The classes that you teach.
Well, great. And thank you, Father Prosper. I do. I teach a class called Leading the Holy Cross Way. And just to give you a little bit of a backstory on that, when I was at St. Edward's University in Austin, Texas, we began preparing a series of educational modules that we would share with throughout the United States with our K through 12 partners and lay people, and especially for those new to Holy Cross. And so it gave us an opportunity, utilizing today's modern technology, to really help to educate and form more holistically and uniformly the educators, Holy Cross educators across the country here in the United States. And I think some others are using that around the world today. But one that I was eager to explore further with my doctorate in leadership, I was eager to explore the question, is there a distinctive Holy Cross leadership theory? And so my partners and I, and researchers and I at the Holy Cross Institute, we began to study the men and the women that make up our past, our history in the family of Holy Cross. And so naturally people like Basil Moreau and Jacques de Jarrier and Andre Motai and Saint Brother Andre Basset. But we also look specifically at some of the educational leaders here in the United States, Father Ted Hesburgh, Sister Madaliva Wolf, who was the longtime president at St. Mary's, Mother Angela Gillespie, Mother Mary the Seven Dolours. And we began to just research to see if we could identify, was there a thread of consistency on how they led, who they are, what they did. And we found 7 points in common. Okay, so I'll go through these really quickly for you, but I've mentioned a couple of them already. The first is zeal, right? They approached the work, the ministry that they did with the zeal to make God known, loved, and served. Tremendous zeal, right? That's different than optimism. The zeal, it's a unique word that we don't commonly use in our vocabulary, but it's one that should stick with us. They also were deeply faith-filled people, right? And so through their faith commitment, which would seem like it's an obvious one, it distinguishes them from other leaders, right? From non-Christian leaders. If we're looking for this distinctive thread of Holy Cross leadership theory, they were deeply faith-filled, committed to their own spiritual formation. They also possessed a humble servant mindset, right? A humble servant mindset. So we call that number 3 point, humble servanthood. The 4th and 5th points go right to your constitutions. And it speaks of having both the competence to see, number 4, and the courage to act, number 5. The 6th point really, I think, taps into the virtue, the greatness that each pursued for the greater good of the world and for the kingdom. And it's a term known as magnanimity, right? They had an entrepreneurial mindset. They set out to change the world, to prepare the world for better times. And it took an entrepreneurship mindset to do so. It took a magnanimous personality to do so. It was never about themselves. It was always about the other and the communities that they served. And then the last of these attributes that we found was the attribute of accompaniment, right? We as Holy Cross educators, we don't stand at a pulpit. We don't stand on some high mountain looking down upon those that we serve. We stand side by side with all people. Again, right from your constitutions. And so those 7 attributes, I teach this class, I bring in guest speakers from across the United States and around the world who I think I have identified, whether they know it or not, they possess some of these characteristics. And we use those models of leadership as an opportunity for us to learn more deeply this Holy Cross leadership model.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marco. Anyone who has a question to Dr. Marco? Dr. Marco, the audience is satisfied with your presentation, but above all with your sacrifice. This morning I wrote to him, I told him, I said, Doctor, we agree you are busy. Record your presentation and send it to us later. But instead of recording, he has decided to come in person to present. Let us give him a hand of applause, Dr. Marco.
Thank you so much, Father Prosper. Thank you all. Thank you all. May God bless you. And please, Father Prosper, you're welcome to share my contact information if anybody would like to talk more or get any of the materials that I've used to help develop that Holy Cross leadership theory.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marco, and God bless you.
Thank you all. Abe Crux Bezunica.
Thank you so much, Father Prosper. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me let you know that we are coming to the end of the first session, and then we go for Mass. Then from Mass, that is now from 5 to 6. Then from 7 onwards, we shall have dinner, and departure will be at leisure. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me, in a summary, say that day 1 of our educational symposium has been both enriching and thought provoking. We have explored key themes, including holistic education, the power of listening, child safeguarding, and our shared responsibility as educators. The discussions have challenged us to reflect, learn, and recommit ourselves to create safe, inclusive, and learner-centered environments. As we conclude today's sessions, let us carry forward the insights gained and return tomorrow ready to build on this strong foundation. Thank you so much for your active participation. Those were my comments as an MC for today, but I don't have the capacity of closing the day when the host is here. Allow me, in a special way, still pass on the microphone to Father Prosper to say something. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bright. I have an announcement. Please register in this book for your attendance, because tomorrow I'm going to give you transport refund. But if you have not registered here, you will miss out. Yeah, is that okay? So I have talked a lot. Father Henry is my deputy, so I will delegate him to do the closing remarks. Thank you.
I don't know what to say. Closing remarks. I want to presume that after the closing remarks, the next thing is Mass, right? And it's in this place. So I guess there'll be some minutes for the preparations. If you're here and you've not picked at least 10 things, then you've not come here. I think a lot of testimonies, the rich heritage of Holy Cross has been our day. I know we are not the same though we entered this room. Our presenters have done their best. In fact, they have just scratched the surfaces of what Holy Cross is. There is more to the depth. As part of the conclusive remarks, we need in our library, where is Mr. Kampa? We need now to be more serious to open up a Holy Cross corner at Holy Cross Lakeview, where all this rich literature should sit, and probably beginning with the sharings that we have just had in this symposium should sit in the library here and in our libraries wherever we come from. I want to take this chance to thank every presenter, every participant, those who were in different areas, those in the catering group, those at the reception. I can't count those on the technical desk. I don't know, I see a web of connections of different gifts and talents and specializations that are at play. I want to thank you for your ears and your attention. We cannot take it for granted. And above all, to have a general spirit in the house, a general spirit, you don't know what it means. Let's put our hands together. Brother, seeing you seated like Andre, almost at the gate, just there the whole day, just listening. Isn't it so beautiful? It is. I can tell. And then our provincial, in the same spirit, seated here, even he has not said a word, just listening. These are the Holy Cross virtues we have been talking about here. Let's put our hands together for Father Peter. And for all of you, I will not mention all of you by name, but trust me, we are so grateful. And for the MC, together, Mr. Noel is in charge of catering. So when you see these tags, welfare, when you see the tag even near then you know that supper is not far from us here. So, Mr. Noel, together with your team that is working behind curtains, we are so grateful. Mr. Bright, thank you so much. With this said, we are ready for tomorrow's input. I think you have been reminded about Brother Prodib. I request that you stand up. Put your hands together for Brother Prodib. He's walking in here from Rome still, and is part of our General Council. So thank you so much for sparing your time. By the way, Brother Adolf, where are you? Brother Adolf, stand up, please. Let's put our hands together for brother. You know, we may be here in a small space, but Brother Adolf has the power to click the button and the whole world knows that we are here. So that is the power that he carries around this campus. I can't appreciate each one of you, but let God bless you on all our behalf. With that said, I think, how many minutes for mass preparation?
We have only 12 minutes for preparation. And I'm reminded by the welfare man that immediately after Mass, there is evening tea before supper or before dinner. Please enjoy. Thank you so much. Please, the lost and found phone is still here with me. The owner should come for it. You're welcome. Lost and